Senator Lindsey Graham has just said that he will introduce legislation to create a backstop measure in Afghanistan which would certify that lowering our troop strength below 8,600 soldiers would not endanger national security. So he's put a check and a balance in there. General Jack Keane is with us, Fox News senior strategic analyst. Now, we're going to have maybe a deal with the Taliban next week. Does Senator Graham's statement complicate that?
No, not at all. I mean, here's what we think the deal is going to say. The centerpiece of the deal is that the United States has agreed with the Taliban to get out of Afghanistan by the end of 2020, which is 14, 15 months from now. And in return for that, we get a couple of conditions. One, the Taliban and the Afghan government will talk. That's a good thing. Two, we'll immediately reduce our forces within about 140 days to 8,600 and hold there to see if there's an agreement between Taliban and Afghan government before we go any further. And the third thing is the one that we have the problem with, and that is that the Taliban guarantees to the United States that the al-Qaeda will not establish a safe haven in Afghanistan, and number two, that they will help defeat ISIS. We don't believe the Taliban can be trusted, and there's plenty of evidence to that effect. So Senator Graham, what he is proposing is legislation, and Senator McConnell has agreed to put this legislation forward that would require the Secretaries of Defense and State to come before the Congress and to certify that there is no threat from Afghanistan to the homeland of the United States any longer before we reduce those forces. That's what this is about.
And that's the final point in the deal that you were talking about, right, where we'll leave it to the Taliban to get rid of ISIS and get rid of al-Qaeda. Yeah. And you don't trust them to do that.
No, and we're making assurances that this will work. Here's what's likely happening right now. The Taliban and al-Qaeda are brothers. The Taliban invited the al-Qaeda into Afghanistan in the mid-90s, UBL, gave them a base to set up operations. When the attack came on 9/11, followed after the two embassy attacks in Africa and the USS Cole, President Bush said to the Taliban, give up the al-Qaeda and we will not deal with you. And they refused, putting their regime at risk, which they lost, and their lives at risk, which they lost by the thousands. So now, after the Taliban was willing to protect the al-Qaeda to the expense of their lives and their regime, we're going to trust them now to give them up? I don't think so. Okay. So that's the issue. And I believe right now the Taliban is telling the al-Qaeda, lay low, don't increase your activity, don't increase your numbers, wait until the Americans leave, you'll have your base back again.
They're playing the long game.
That's what, absolutely.
You don't think we should leave under those conditions?
I think we should hold at 8,600 until such time as the United States is comfortable that there's no threat to the homeland from Afghanistan.
But those 8,600 troops are potent, presumably. They have the
Some of them are advisors,
and
there's a counterterrorism force that's there that pulls triggers against these guys, and it's very important. And they also have an intelligence capability. Remember, from Afghanistan, we have covert operation bases in Afghanistan that we conduct operations against the al-Qaeda in Pakistan. It's from one of those bases that we killed Osama bin Laden, and we've killed most of their lieutenants. So right now, we have our foot on their throat. They are in hiding. If we leave Afghanistan, they come out of hiding, reestablish the base. They have never given up the aspiration and the strategic objective to kill Americans.
What you're talking about, though, what you're talking about is staying there for a very long time.
I'm talking about staying there till those conditions change. Listen, we're going after the al-Qaeda in Yemen for years, in Libya, off the coast of Africa, in Somalia, because all three of those organizations threaten the United States. We've been at it for years. We'll continue to be at it for years. And we should be at it in Afghanistan. We're not dealing with a war that has a beginning and a start. We're dealing with an ideology that's generational. And we've got to get our head around that.
Is there political will to stay there for a long time?
You put your finger on what the issue really is.
That's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah.
As you head up to the 2020 election.
Yeah, exactly.
General Keane, thanks for joining us, as always.
Great talking to you.
Thank you, sir.